It's Friday, Friday.
Come on, Chris.
Gonna get down on
Okay,
Friday.
3, 2, 1.
And we got the pause too. That was good.
That was good.
Welcome back to the Decent Humans podcast. I am Jenny. We got this guy over here.
Evan.
And this one over here.
Chris.
And today we're going to take it to a subject that I am calling creative blocks.
That was very... She's reinventing the wheel here.
I love it because you can see Jenny just like, is this the right way I want to introduce this? Is this the way I want to do it?
I want
Hey,
to say.
at least we are consistent.
She almost had a
fucking up the intro.
She almost had a block introing the creative block.
No, so we're talking about creative blocks.
We are talking about creative blocks.
First off, like what is a creative block? I think it's a very well-known generic term, but what is a creative block? I mean, it's a very general term, creative block, but what does it mean?
It is when you are blocked creative.
I knew that was coming. I knew it was coming.
That's my answer as well. So.
No, it means like when say you're working on a project and you can't figure out where to go next with whatever you're working on. You don't know what the story is. You don't know where to go with any of it. Mm-hmm. And I mean, that can be a pretty broad situation, but I'm going to go back to my original statement.
It's block creative. No, I think you nailed it with it's block creatively, because for me, it's not just with, let's say with content creation. Like, it's not just me being blocked. I can't think of the next idea. I can't think of the next shoot that I want to do. It also, I think it actually pertains to life choices and the direction you want to take things. Yeah. Whether, it's I'm choosing to do this with my life or this with my life. Sometimes you just get stuck and you're not sure what your next move is. And, I think that's something that a lot of us deal with, and we have to figure out how do we get over that, how to address it in a way with maybe you don't have the right answer. You don't have the answer laid out in front of you, but there's still steps you can do to get over that hump so that you're able to still go after your goals and what you want to achieve.
I heard this great quote from a decent human. Oh. And I think it was something along the lines of,
you know what
helps
adds
with
to
creativity?
Oh, I know what decent human that was.
Life.
That was me.
That was Jenny.
You act like you didn't remember.
I was like secretly still holding on that it was going to be me. I was like, yes, come on, Chris, quote me. But alas, it was not.
But that's so true. I mean, if you are stuck in any situation, I think that a good remedy is to stop what you're doing and go out and do something else. Like, take your brain out of that line of thinking and do something else. And like, for me, when I'm creatively stuck, like, I will literally go for a run and run like 6 miles, and I can because I will circle the drain on certain topics. If I'm stuck on a project, if I'm stuck on a situation with family or friends or whatever, I can go for a run and just like run it through my head over and over and over again. And usually by the end, I'll have like a solution of some sort. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I can relate to that because I do the same thing.
You run 6 miles? I
don't run 6 miles. I run like 1.5.
Okay.
2 miles. Maybe I think about going for a run. I walk around the house. That's what I do. But it's the same thing. No, I'm serious. Like, I go on a run, or I go to the gym, or I do something active, because I know that when you work out and you exercise and things like that, it releases endorphins, and usually that helps with, feeling better. And when you feel better and you're not trapped in your office or wherever you might work, and you just kind of feel enclosed and shut off from the world, it helps you creatively. And I know when I go on runs and stuff like that, it helps me generate new ideas, new concepts, and new things I want to try and do.
And your subconscious is working at the same time. Like, an object in motion stays in motion. If you're constantly trying to...
Can you repeat that?
That was Isaac Newton. That's not a Chris AV.
I'm not reading
I just
the wheel
I'm
here.
always amazed at how you like re-quote people all the time. I think that's pretty good.
I was really bad at quoting line or like.
You just
retaining
buttered her up
lines.
because you quoted Jenny at the beginning of this, and now it's
Evan's feeling a little left out on this
Yeah.
one.
Really buttered
I
about
know.
that.
Jenny also runs 6 miles. What do you run? A mile? Okay.
I'm a bad back. Okay?
Real pissed out.
How fast do you run your mile?
Oh my God.
How fast?
Oh my
Let me hear it. Give me.
Everything's competitive about this guy. It's like,
What's
dude,
your mile?
just let it go.
What's your mile?
Just let it go.
Let me know.
It's not fast.
Just let
I
it
don't care.
go.
If I'm running 6, it's not fast. If I'm running 1, it's a different story.
What's your pace?
When I was really trying, when I was fighting, I would run a 7-minute mile.
Okay, never mind.
But that's
can't
but
do
that's
that.
not 1 mile at a time. If I was only doing 1 mile, if I'm doing 6 miles, I'm running like a 9 to 10-minute mile. Like
Okay.
in there.
Oh,
Not fast.
What are you gonna? What do you gotta say to that? Like, what are you gonna?
I run in 8:30.
Yeah, that's
Not a big deal.
But I think that on that topic, health and wellness also goes hand in hand with creativity.
Yep.
Right. Like you have to have a balance of both. Because if you just sit there and you're like sitting in front of the screen, you're just sitting down all the time. That's also not healthy. Right. Like your brain's not firing. Nothing's firing. Like I feel like when you're active and you're moving around, or when you're even traveling, like we've talked about this before, but when you're traveling, new ideas begin to come to you and you start seeing the world from a different place.
yeah. I feel like traveling's got to be, and I get that it's not always feasible for everyone, but traveling, if you're in a creative block, has got to be one of the best remedies.
I don't even think that you have to travel to a different country. Like we are so close to Big Sur or like Joshua Tree or like San Diego.
You know what's interesting is my friend lived in Venice and she just moved to like East LA or like
West LA.
I don't
That's funny.
no, I don't know. Like what's like above North Hollywood? Like
Northridge?
Glendale. Like,
Glendale, yeah.
She moved like near Glendale and she was like, it feels like I moved to an entirely new city, but she's still in LA and like still has her friends, but now she's in a whole different like pool of life over there.
Well, I think on top of that, I think this is a very known phrase where it's like you are the 5 people that you surround yourself with, right? And just like what you just said is that she took herself out of her current surroundings, put herself into a new surroundings, and she felt differently inspired. Better or worse, doesn't matter. Her inspiration was different.
But she still is able to come then back to LA and like, or to regular LA and see her like close friends and stuff. And she's not totally gone, but she can still experience Glendale as a new city as if she's moved to an entirely new place.
I think that goes back to, we had Mike Lee on a couple episodes ago and he's talking about changing your state.
For me, when I go through those moments, I always turn something on to try to change my state.
And it doesn't mean that you have to go travel to a different country, right? You can literally just go a block over and
Or
completely
change, or
your
watch
state.
it, watch a TV
Or
show.
watch a
You
show,
watch The
yeah.
Office and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Jamie doesn't watch TV.
I know she's an intellect. She reads. Do you,
Is
do you
that what
ever,
I am?
do you-
Ooh.
I think so. Anybody that reads is an intellect to me. So the bar's not that high. But like, all right, because I know you do like to read books. Do you ever turn to books or anything like that to find inspiration?
I mean, I read every day. So yeah, I guess because for me, like when I'm reading, I'm putting myself in a different world. So whatever that means, whatever that book is creating for me, it's kind of inspiring in that way. And I mean, I read fiction and nonfiction biographies, like anything like that, like the self-help. So you're always taking tips and things. From
So do you design your days in order to, at some point you're going to read?
I usually read at night, like before bed.
And has that helped you realize like, if you were to have some sort of issue or creative block, have you found that you've read at the end of the day and you're like, oh, like maybe later on, I never looked at this idea in this way?
I haven't like noticed it necessarily, but what I can say is when I'm reading, my brain can't be anywhere else but on the page. If I'm not
Interesting.
paying attention to the words, I'm not taking in what it's saying. So like that's the one thing about reading is you have to focus on only that. And like there's so many things that we do throughout the day where you can multitask or like I can watch TV and be working at the same time. Like The reading, you have to focus, and that's why so many people don't like it, because you have to stop everything and just do that.
Yeah.
I think that's hard for people to say.
So are you saying like it's very like meditative?
Kind of. I mean, because there's not many times in a day where you are choosing one thing and just focusing on that. Like I won't like answer my phone. I won't have, sometimes I'll have music playing, but like even that gets tuned out. So
See, that's what I have an issue with, because I find it very difficult for myself to be doing one
maybe
sole
reading
thing.
would be very good for you.
That's why I have such an issue with it.
Yeah.
Like even so, I know this is totally not reading, but playing video games is the example I use, because I used to love playing video games growing up. I don't really play it anymore, but now when I try and play video games, because it takes all your concentration to play that game, I don't like doing it anymore. I like doing multiple things. So when I watch TV or watch a movie or something, I can be on my phone, I can be doing work, I can write emails, whereas video game is like,
I think it's very valuable. It's good for your brain to be able to stop and focus on one thing. Like multitasking is not actually good for your brain.
really?
Did you know that?
Uh-oh. I mean,
Can you explain that?
I'm not scientifically. I just know that like when your brain is shooting off in a bunch of different directions, you start to not be able to focus on one thing. And I know that that's not great for the brain.
You're saying the repetition of paying attention to different things gets you out of the focus of.
So I would say like you don't like reading, but read 5 pages a night.
Well, I even find myself like if I'm answering an email, this is probably really bad actually now that I think about it. As I'm writing an email, halfway through the email, I'll think about something else I need to do, and then I'll stop and I'll
I do that in work all the time.
Oh, okay.
But that's why I also like, the fact that I can stop and just like read a book, at least I can focus on one thing.
No.
I think that, when you're running, you have to focus on just those steps, right? Like,
No.
Your mind
Wait, so are you
your
just
mind,
when you run, do you just go like left, right, left, right?
No, but
When
you
you're
have to.
running,
You
you're
have to. Over time, you put yourself in this state of mind that even if it's tough, like you have to take yourself out of the feeling.
Yeah, that's one way to look at it. But my mind can go in a million directions while I'm running.
That's why I like running, is because it's multiple activities at once. So I'm running while thinking about something else, and then it allows me to kind of forget that I'm running.
Have either of you tried meditating?
I have tried it. I was in meditation club in high school.
Oh, it's a club.
I went twice.
I
They kicked me out.
I have so many thoughts about that. I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut.
we want to hear them.
They were like, you don't belong here. Oh, sorry.
Like the goal of meditation, at least in the form that I've learned it, which is not any again, not scientifically or anything like that, but like it's not to stop thought. It's to
Allow them to flow.
allow them to flow. But like you have a thought, if you're like clear your mind and a thought comes in, you push it away. Thought comes in, you let the thought happen, but then you push it away. Like you don't stop thinking. You don't try to like get away from the feelings that you're having, but like you have it and then you move on.
See,
But you have to kind of, again, focus for that to happen.
there's only been a few instances that I can actually truly say that I've meditated, but it's not in the traditional sense of, turning off everything. It's when I find focus within doing a task.
Okay, so you should try to focus on one thing more often.
I used to be able to. So like drawing, that used to be my thing I would go to. And it would be the closest I could do to meditation, because I would focus just on drawing. Whatever was in front of me, the piece of paper, the pencil in my hand, I could draw for hours. And it would go 6 hours and it felt like 20 minutes.
Maybe you should try drawing once a day.
Do you?
Probably right.
I bet you that'd be good for your creative brain.
It probably would be.
Do you start your day off like priming your brain? Do you start your day, or do you just get up and go?
I get up and go.
I feel like
man.
Jenny starts her day off priming.
I
like
probably start
something.
my day. Okay, this is a good one. How do we all start our day? Give me your first 5 minutes.
No, it's
you
not
wake
even-
up.
It's like the first hour.
Okay,
For
give me
me,
your
it's the
first
first hour. I just know that I need that to myself and whatever I need to do, whether it is meditating, because I haven't been as consistent as I would like to be, but I have found that when you just allow thoughts to start to flow, you listen to them and then let them go and then see what else comes in. It primes my brain in a way where I'm ready for anything to happen throughout the day. I feel like when I if I were to get up and go, I resist so much against it because I have no preparation for
Yeah.
the day. Like now I'm just instead of being like prepared, I'm reacting. And
Yeah.
I don't ever want to be in the state of reacting in that way when I'm not
Interesting.
prepared.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's kind of why I get up at 5 because I do my workouts early, but I don't usually get to the gym until 6 at the earliest, or sometimes like 7. But I get up an hour or two before that because I'm like prepping my day.
What's your morning routine? You wake up and then give me before you go to the gym.
Well, I have a dog, and so she likes to sleep in, but
Swoosh,
I have to admit,
right?
her name's Nike.
Nike. I
Nice.
thought it was Swoosh. I don't know why I thought it was.
Oh,
I knew
because
it was
the
Nike
Nike
Swoosh.
Swoosh.
The Nike Swoosh.
Yeah.
Last name Swoosh.
So she likes to sleep in, but I like have to feed her, take her out, whatever. And then I have coffee. I don't really do anything, but I'm not doing anything until my 6 a.m. usually is when I get to the gym, or it's either the boxing gym or my home gym.
Are you on your phone? Are you on the computer? Are you
Probably
reading,
checking on my
check-
phone stuff, but I don't get
Yeah.
really on the computer. It's more about just like waking up for the day. Like I'm not a person that can jump out of bed and like in 10 minutes get to the gym and work out. Like I have to be awake. I have like 27 vitamins I take in the morning. Like I'm very into supplements.
Yeah. Steroids.
No. Just like all natural stuff. I mean, I think it works.
It
Yeah.
does,
No,
yeah.
I mean,
But
Stare.
do I look like I'm on steroids?
I know.
no, I just thought it was like, yeah, supplements. Yeah, work out. I got muscles and shit.
But I think like mentally, like
called the
even if I'm not
consistency of
necessarily
Jenny's
doing
work ethic.
yeah, not necessarily doing something, I'm mentally preparing for. It also gives me that hour gives me time to, if I have places to be, I can prep for that. If I have last minute stuff to do, I can prep for that. Like it just means I'm not rushing,
Yeah.
and that's really what it is. I fucking hate rushing. I don't like to wake up and have to like rush to get ready and rush to get somewhere because that's when things fall through the cracks. Like
Yeah.
even for today, like usually I come here with my smoothie, but like making that smoothie takes 10 minutes. I made it last night to prepare.
Really? That's dedication.
Yeah.
What kind of smoothie is it?
It's my version of the Hilly Beaver smoothie.
I knew it, so that's why I had to ask.
Really? What do you
mine's
put
better.
in it?
So I have, I can walk you through it.
Yeah.
I start with, I do still have oat milk because I need to switch my dairies, but oat milk, I do 2 dates.
Oat milk, by
Have
the way,
we
you guys
talked about
messed
this?
me up on
No,
oat
dude,
milk.
you
You
have
guys
to-
told me
Did
about
you-
the oat milk.
did you
and
look into it?
No, I didn't
Dude,
look into it. I just
okay.
took your word for
You
what it
guys-
was, and I cut it out
You
of my
guys need to
life.
follow Carnivore Aurelius.
I know,
And
I know.
I
I'm on my last carton of oat milk and then I'm gonna switch it, but I need to find I don't want to talk about it. So oat milk, I got 2
There's a-
dates. I got
I thought you had
the
3
sea
dates.
moss, 2 dates.
they don't know what you're talking about.
All right.
The sea moss, and then I do a scoop of protein, a scoop of collagen, 2 tablespoons of the Neocell
Jesus.
hyaluronic acid.
It's like
Oh,
a
that's
science
good for the
project.
skin.
I
Yeah.
do flaxseed. I do, I don't know how to say it. It's some like herb that's like Chinese herb, and that I put in. That's
Matcha.
like no, it's good for like anxiety. It's spelled GOTU space
Zoloft.
KOLA,
Get the fuck out of here.
and then I do reishi mushroom, and then I do, I think that's
This is all good stuff to prime the brain too.
yeah, all of it's really really good for you.
That's great. And the segue, how do you feel about your
Well, I mean, listening to you guys, like you have such a structured morning. That's so.
Is it structured or is it open to allow things to change?
I think my morning's more open to allow things to change.
let's talk about it.
Because like my morning is chaos. Like it doesn't I don't have like a set structure. I could immediately wake up, lay in bed, and look at my phone, or I could immediately wake up and go to the computer without getting coffee, without getting anything, jump on emails, see what I missed the night before, start writing away. Or I could wake up, go get coffee, go to the gym. or I could skip coffee, go straight to the gym. My morning is just whatever is happening in the moment.
Okay.
Like I'll be at the gym at 7:30 in the morning. I have clients in New York. They'll email me and I'll immediately leave and go straight back to the house and get back on the computer at 7:30 in the morning. Like my morning is
Do you feel like you check in with yourself in the morning and have that time for yourself?
What do you mean
to be able to think about whatever Evan wants to do? Or do you feel like you prime yourself for the day?
Give me an example. Like when you say check in with myself, like what do you do to check in with yourself?
I just allow my brain to warm up. Like, do you give yourself a warm up?
Yeah, that's what my hour is before I go to the gym. Like it's a warm up. Like I'm not necessarily doing anything. I'm just like getting ready for wherever I'm going to go that morning, which is always the gym, but I give it myself an hour.
No,
I don't like wake up and go ever.
No.
No, I don't.
Literally,
I mean,
for example, like the other day, we're editing something for another partnership that's coming out, and I had a text message that I missed because I went to bed at like 10:30. I got a message at 11:30, and I saw it at 6 when I woke up. I saw it immediately, and it said, "Let me know if you have any voice notes." And literally, as I'm laying in bed with my head on the pillow, face down, I grabbed my phone and I started giving him notes. Like immediately waking up 30 seconds from opening my eyes. And
I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer, but my question is, where are your boundaries in that regard?
What boundaries?
Don't get me wrong. There are not.
You're supposed to have boundaries?
There's days where I wake up at 6 or 5 a.m. and I missed stuff at night that I have to jump on in the morning. But most of the time, I give myself that hour.
No, and-
sorry, I don't know why I keep doing this to you guys.
It's like, hey, yo, what's up, bro?
It's just like it feels like what I'm supposed to
Denise
do.
is trying to fill out her boundaries.
Talk about boundaries, boundary. I don't want you to go any closer. That's my boundary right there. No, nothing.
These accents you forgot sometimes.
Oh man.
No, like trust me, I hear you two, and giving yourself time to wake up. And I do think that it actually is the healthy way to do something. However, it may not be for everybody's mindset. And whether that's a good thing or a negative thing, for me and how I operate, like being able to react, I'm okay with. I'm okay just being like, oh, email just in. Let me see what it is. Does it involve something that I need to address right now? I'll address it right now. That's how I kind of.
I don't think that I was always
day
this
by
way
day.
with like my mornings either, by the way. During COVID, obviously we were all like locked in our homes, but I lived on the beach. So since I had nothing to do, I was like, I'm going to go see the sunrise every morning. So the whole time we were in lockdown, I went every morning to watch the
I
sunrise.
remember back in the day, you
Yeah.
would always post like.
So, and I did that
6
for like a
o'clock. Yeah.
year, and then I would go after that. I'd go for my run, and so like that's what started that was. And then I'd like do a little meditation on the beach while I was out there, and that's kind of what started this like morning routine. I had to learn it. I wasn't always this way.
Yeah. No, I wasn't the same way either. Like I didn't wake up early because you said you wake up at 5 a.m. Like I didn't wake up this early. I usually wake up around 6. Sometimes before that, probably at the beginning of the pandemic, I would wake up around 4:35. But now that I've gotten used to working from home, I'll sleep in a little bit more. But still, like I'm up, and once my eyes open, I can't sleep in. I'm ready to go. Like there's no going back to bed.
I'm thinking back now, and I'm like, damn, like I can get into like a creative flow state within like the first hour, 2 hours that I'm awake. And I feel like that helps me for what we're talking about, creating a structure to not even have a creative block. But yeah, like within the first hour or whatever, like I'll be coffee, whatever, maybe microdose a little mushroom, and then start listening to music. But
I
that
think San
gets me
Francisco just
primed.
decriminalized mushrooms. I don't know if you saw that. Yep.
That's good.
You moving to San Francisco next?
No.
Cool.
Shout out to San Francisco.
Shout out to San Francisco.
Yeah.
Way to go.
I'm from there, so I'm from up there. So like
You're from Modesto. You're not from San
Northern.
that's
Francisco.
Northern
California.
California. Like
Not
it's
San
like an hour and a half
Francisco. That's
away.
like Oh,
an
I'm
hour and a
from
half away.
Fresno,
It's not
but
far. It's not far.
It's not far.
I identify
I lived in
with
San Francisco
fucking
for 2
Silicon
years.
Valley. Doesn't make sense. This guy.
Anyways,
Okay, so
That-
if you had to give one tip for getting out of a creative block or like maintaining a lifestyle that's able to avoid creative blocks, either one, what would you say?
move.
Just move your body.
Just
or
move your body. Yeah. Just,
Yeah.
I mean, you can prime all you want, but if you're not constantly moving, I don't feel like thoughts will flow through you.
Yeah, I
You know?
agree.
Yeah,
If you're a dead corpse just sitting there,
that's a good one.
you're not going to have thoughts.
You don't have to do a lot. You just have to do something. You walk up hills. You jump a little rope. You take a little tiny kettlebell. You do a couple cleans and presses. You do a few push-ups. You do a few sit-ups. You get your blood pumping. You're moving. You're alive. You're exercising.
So Chris Evie
Flow
says
through you.
his piece of advice is don't be a dead corpse and you'll be creative.
You gotta move. You
gotta move.
gotta move.
I
Gotta
agree
feel the
with
rhythm.
I agree with that.
Goes back to the shimmy that we had earlier.
I agree with the whole moving aspect. And speaking of moving, Elvis,
Oh,
what we talked about in a previous episode is that he wasn't able to sing unless he was moving, which is one of the big
Yeah.
aspects of like why you see him like shaking
Yeah.
his legs and shaking it, moving
It
his
gave him
arms.
like that.
It
Yeah.
allowed him to sing more free and freestyle and get into it. But it's the same thing with being creative and with what you're saying with moving your body. I'm the same way. I have to be moving. It's why, like when I talk to you on the phone, or I talk to you on the phone or a client, I usually stand up and I walk around my office and I'm just like on the phone, like spitting out ideas. It's because you're getting the blood pumping, you're getting, you're moving your body. And I think that's really important.
Okay,
So
well, that
we're
was
like
Chris's.
Elvis.
What's yours?
I know. I thought I would try. That
took
was
mine.
You
dang
tried to
it.
steal it.
I tried to steal it.
thank you. Thank you for adding to it. But
Oh, dang
that
it.
was mine, Evan. What's yours?
Do whatever your client says.
But look, I will say,
go ahead. Go ahead. What will you say? What will you say? Tell me what you say.
as much shit as we give you,
What will you say?
as much shit as we give you, you still get the job done in
you.
a timely manner.
Thanks.
Yeah.
You still accomplish it, even though you might not have a back or you might feel like your shoulders are just a little
Yeah.
heavy, but you still get it done.
Yeah. Thank
you.
So I can't say anything
Good.
to
I
that.
think that
Please
one,
don't. To answer your question, going back to, something else that I do is I still, even though like my schedule has gotten a little crazier, I am always answering emails with clients. I'm doing a lot of different projects at the same time that are for brands and they're paid. I still try and find space for me to do my own stuff and take on my own projects and do things that I'm allowed to take my time and kind of build off of. And maybe it's a little bit more personal to me.
Do you find that like being able to switch from the creative brain that you have to use for your clients to the creative brain that you use for yourself is like enough shift? To open that up?
It is really hard because it is a very similar muscle, right? I'm not allowing my brain to just relax.
Yeah.
But when I'm able to do something that's just for myself without the pressure of, will this perform? Will someone else like it? And it's truly just for me. Like it is very refreshing. And I'm able to take my time and I'm able to build something that doesn't really matter if anybody else likes it. It's just for myself.
The sense that I get from the content that you're putting out too is that like a lot of it just feels like you're just like going out there and playing. And I think that's a good thing for people to remember when you're stuck is to just go fuck around with something and don't take it so serious and like play around until maybe something sticks because you don't know what you can unlock when you are not trying to be so serious.
Exactly. When you don't have, big brother, so to speak, just kind of like looking over your shoulder, like, all right, it has to be like this, label out. The lighting has to look like this. This is purely just something, and this is me, obviously, in my world of when I'm just doing it and with no other outside forces telling me how to do it, it is kind of like a reset in my mind of just like experimenting, exploring, getting better, honing my craft.
So your advice is just to go into your garage and then
So my advice is to
build
do more
yourself a
work.
sample.
So anybody that's in a creative rut, that's working too much, just do more
feel-
work.
But
That's awful.
But do you feel like you get many creative reps then? Or do you even not know what that feels like because you're just a machine?
That was like a backhanded compliment.
It was kind of like, I'm gonna let that one sit for a second. I am a machine.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris. I definitely do get in creative ruts. Especially when it has to do with bigger projects, when a client comes to me and says like, this is something that we want to do, and they might give me a general outline. There are definitely times that I'm just like, I'm not sure what I want to do with this. And I look for inspiration everywhere. But I think the difference from what you're saying, where you need to kind of reset by taking a moment for yourself, it's me almost putting energy out to see what I can get back. And that might come in the form of looking online, looking on Pinterest, going out into the world, walking down, even something that I actually really like is, going to a mall or going like to Abbott and looking at all the photos that they have in the windows, like Banana Republic. I like going to their store, literally not to buy their clothes. Not wearing a Banana Republic shirt or anything like that, but to see their campaign photography, I think it's amazing. And so I look at other people's things and art that they're creating, and I do draw inspiration. Like, all right, I see how I could take that and morph it into something that's relevant for either a brand I'm working with or something for myself.
So that goes back to Jenny's famous quote about life.
There's okay, so this is something I was just thinking about. And this might be kind of strange. So this happened recently. We've pitched a few project ideas to potential new clients, and they like want to work with us, but they're not like in love with the original pitch. So then they want new pitches, and we sometimes get stuck and we like can't figure out what to do next. And it's because we've set certain like partners already. We've set certain like limitations already within the partnership that we're trying to build. I'm like, so what we do is we strip away everything and start completely over, which sounds annoying, but like get rid of all the boundaries that you've originally set for yourself and start fresh with a clean slate. It's hard. It's like annoying to like remove everything. But if you get rid of the boundaries you've set for yourself and go back to like, what would I do if I could do anything? And then you start adding those restrictions back in as you've rebuilt this new idea. Like that's helped us a lot.
I think that's a really good point of not getting too focused on a singular idea that might actually be holding you back to something that's even better.
Yeah,
right?
We've gotten that like rut a lot with projects is like we can't move forward because we're stuck on certain aspects. When you remove certain boundaries, even if you have to add those back in the future, removing them just to build a new creative idea actually really helps.
Yep. I totally agree with that. And I think that goes beyond just with ideas with clients or anything like that. I think that's just life in general, right? If you get so fixated on an idea and you don't allow for something else to enter and come into your world, you're going to miss out on a lot of opportunity. Like, let's say I wanted to, move to another country and live off the land and not do and just be like surf and stuff. And I just wanted to be.
He's referring to this conversation we had.
And I just, be like surf and not be a part of it. And like that's the plan. And you know what? That's a beautiful goal. Beautiful goal. Like I would love to do that. But if you just have that singular mindset, that tunnel vision that says that's the only thing that matters in my life and nothing else, you're gonna miss so much. So much.
He's trying to bring it a full circle from a conversation we had the other day.
That's gonna allow you to grow.
I feel like
as a
this is like a
person.
subliminal message he's trying to like say.
No, but like, look, I think that when you're open to everything that comes your way, you don't keep those boundaries on yourself. And so you're able to create off of it.
Absolutely.
Versus having one singular thing.
I'm not saying it anymore. You are.
I can't tell if he's being serious.
He is serious.
I'm very serious.
He's being serious.
It's happening right now.
I think it's because I've thought about
Moving
to a different place
Yep.
or a country at times. And
He clearly doesn't like that.
Although
I'll miss you.
it is, although it is at times an idea that sounds
Appealing. Yeah, of course.
it's also one of many ideas, and I think that I don't need to be tied down to one thing, right?
Yeah.
But being open to everything,
Yep.
and also just going through it. Like,
Yeah, well, I think we're all a testament to it. Is that I think going back to a previous episodes of all of us, we all went with different directions, right? We all had a different goal in mind, but because we were all open and allowed for something else to enter our world, that we were able to find ourselves in a very different spot than what we thought we would be.
For sure.
You know, where we are right now.
For sure.
And I think that's true to life, but then also if you want to narrow it down, if you're, you know, doing a brand deal, your content creation, your whatever it is that you're trying to pursue, just make sure that you're staying open and allowing inspiration to come from multiple areas.
For sure.
I agree. Okay, I have a question.
Okay.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Well, okay, this is like more for when you were starting out in like your respective like creative careers. Did you ever experience where you like didn't know how to think creatively in the like brainstorm creatively in the way that you needed to? Like when I was starting out, it was maybe like my Thread Beast days. I had to like brainstorm out some ideas, and I hadn't worked that side
That
of my
muscle,
brain yet. So it was really, really hard for me to just spit out like new creative ideas all the time.
I've found, and I know Evan does a really good job with this. I've found setting yourself up, like for example, Pinterest, and having references. Like I just have tabs and tabs and tabs saved of ideas for every single category that I could possibly go to,
you
and
can
then
pull
references from there. I know Evan has talked about at certain times clients would have an idea and he would pitch an idea. They wouldn't be as happy about it. And so he would be able to just pivot right away because of all the ideas he has. And I think that you constantly creating allows to build that foundation to be able to pull from a lot faster when you do get in a rut.
Yep.
But I didn't want to answer the question for him.
No, but I mean, you're absolutely right.
good.
It's something that I do on my calls a lot of the time is I'll get a nugget of an idea. And even in the middle of my Zoom call or whatever it is, I'll start having different ideas and I'll be able to spit them out very quickly. And if I can read the room pretty well and I can see if they like it or don't like it, and then I'll adjust it. If they say something that might be a little bit different, I can pull from that and kind of take the idea into the realm that they're comfortable with, at least to get us started.
Yeah.
But I think that's a skill set that comes.
I think definitely a skill set. I think one, because your creative brain is like, you have to work it to open it up consistently. And two, I think it's like a confidence level of being able to put your ideas out there all the time, knowing that most of them are going to get rejected.
A lot of them get rejected. and that's okay.
Yeah.
It's just like, if you were going to nail it every single time, like that's unheard of. You're not going to. And so you have to be okay with a little bit of pushback or failure or adjustments. A game that I used to do back in grad school with my classmates, because a lot of grad school is basically just working in groups. And then what we had to do was like creatively concept some type of strategy to get out of a position that we were in. So a game that I would play is just word association. So when we would have like a big whiteboard or something and we would talk about stance socks. That was my like senior project there, and like how we could like develop the brand and make it even bigger. And what we would do is like, all right, what do you think about when you think of stance? You think about socks, you think about design, you think about comfort, you think about this. And we would just throw words all over the board. And just so that anything that we would all say, and it doesn't matter if we repeated things, I started circling different things that we all would say. That way, like this seems to be a through line. Like whatever we're all saying that means the same thing, that there must be something that sticks. So then we would build off of those types of ideas. And a lot of times it would actually come out to be a pretty good idea.
One thing I will say is there's certain people that I've heard say, "Oh, like I'm not creative." Like
I don't think that's true.
That's completely invalid. Like everybody is.
I think it's a
born,
cop-out.
I think it's a matter of one practice.
Yes.
Like I can understand why if you don't work in a creative industry all the time, it's difficult to know how to express your creativity and how, like what that looks like. And it's just a matter of figuring out where you are best creatively. I think.
Yes. And I think creativity goes way beyond a visual. I think creativity can come in the form of strategic solutions. Creativity comes with starting a brand and how to get people to like it. Because I've been on countless phone calls and like, oh, Evan, you're the creative. We trust your vision. And it's just like, and I'm not creative at all. And I'll tell them like, that's not true.
Yeah.
You developed this brand. You know
you
your
are
brand. You made the
creative.
product.
Everybody
You're
has
creative.
imagination. You're all born with imagination.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You are all playing
So,
when you're younger.
Yeah,
and
I don't
kids.
like the phrase "I'm not creative."
I also
because
think
I don't
that
believe
like people that are putting it back on you is because they're not comfortable saying their own ideas. And so like, again, the confidence level in your own creative self and getting comfortable with a little rejection is going to take you a long way. Especially, I think a lot of creative block just comes to being afraid to put yourself out there.
Yeah, and I think if you can get comfortable while being okay with a little bit of, rejection, failure, or people giving their own type of input, you're going to be able to do all right if you're okay with it, because that's the name of the game.
What did Elvis's manager say in the movie? Didn't he say you can pitch like how many bad
Business
ideas?
is
It just
no
takes,
business.
It just takes
What?
one good idea.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. You can have like a ton of failures, but
Yeah,
all you
I
need
need
is that one.
Yeah.
Why do apparently we really like Elvis. We've talked about it in many episodes now.
I thought it was a great movie. I listened to Elvis all like 3 days ago. I was doing a shoot in the garage, and that's all I played. I love it. Oh, it's all good stuff.
Well, that's great.
But I feel like in the simplest form, what do you do when you have a creative block?
Move
Just
your
play.
body
Yeah,
and play.
just play.
Live.
Yep. I
The
think
most
Three
simplest
things:
form.
move, play, live.
Yeah.
Is that what we're going with?
move, play, live. Shoot. Let's get t-shirts. Move, play, live.
There we go.
Decent Human
Yeah.
Podcast.
Record
All right,
it.
guys. Thank you so much for hanging out today. And
Move,
a
play,
big
live.
takeaway for everybody is move, play, live. And that will help you get out of your creative rut. I'm Evan. This is
Jenny.
Chris.
And we are the Decent Human Podcast. And thanks for dropping in. Leave us comments. We want to hear what you guys have to say, what you want to see next. Please like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And we will see you next time. Bye.
Peace.
I think we also have to fuck up the outro.
Move, play, live, play, move.
Who said move, play, live?